set to sofa is where it's at. And Lulu, darling, just loves the chat. She talks to stars with grace and style. Lulu sure will make you smile.
Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to From Set to Sofa with Lulu, and I'm Lulu. Now, before we begin, a huge thank you to everyone who's been tuning in and sharing this little podcast of love with us. Your support means the world. If you've been enjoying these chats, please help us grow our gorgeous community by spreading the word, passing the podcast along to your friends, and leaving a message or a bit of a feedback. Every note, every kind word, every listener truly matters, because without you, there simply is no podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with a true Aussie legend who has been gracing our television screens from those black and white days of homicide right through to Sons and Daughters. And he's spilling the beans on everything. And I don't mean Heinz beans, as you'll soon see. We're diving into the harrowing accident that changed the course of his life forever. The secret role a naturopath played in helping launch his career. What synchronicity. What it was really like to be mobbed by thousands of screaming fans in a Beatlemania frenzy in the most unexpected European country. Plus, Tom shares the naughty tricks he was taught by another iconic actor to steal extra screen time. The terrifying moment a massive studio fire nearly went horribly wrong. It's warm, witty, surprising, and full of wonderful behind-the-scenes gems. So settle in, my lovelies, and let's get Tom Richards on the line. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Lulu.
How are you today?
Pretty good. Weather's not exciting, but yeah, good.
Water soaked. And thank you very much for chatting with us today.
No, it's a pleasure.
You've had an amazing career. And it's amazing, too, that you and I never met because we were both Crawford's people for so long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I did Young Ramsey.
All right.
And then Henderson Kids and many cop shops and all sorts of things for Crawford's. Yeah.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
God. Oh, Crawford days. Great days.
And wasn't he a marvellous man?
Yeah.
I like
He
him.
certainly was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good, yeah. And so was his sister.
Yes.
She got a lot of things going.
Loretta.
You didn't see much of her, Loretta.
Yeah.
You didn't see much of her.
No.
No, yeah.
Well, listen, you didn't exactly come into acting the conventional way, did you? I mean, how does a man selling Heinz baked beans end up becoming one of Australia's most recognisable television faces?
When you say Heinz, yes, it was a long journey because I worked for Walton's before, and there was a lady there called Gloria, and she was with the amateur theatre company, and she said, would you like to come and do an audition? We were looking for males. Well, being an amateur theatre, they're always looking for males. Males don't seem to want to do amateur theatre. Anyway, I went along, and I got the part, and I really enjoyed it. And then different things happened, and I got another job and moved away. And when I came back again, I think it was with Heinz. It could have been with Heinz or Walton's, one of those. And I thought, well, I'll go and do a play up in Brisbane. How I ever heard about it, I have no idea. But I went up and I got the part, and I stayed up in Brisbane for a couple of years doing a lot of plays. And then a friend of mine, I think I was working with Heinz at the time too, like you said, and a friend, or she was a friend, but also she was my a naturopath, and she was treating me, and she said, Tom, you could do auditions with Crawford's, it's in the TV week, whatever. So I thought, okay. So without Heinz knowing, I got on the plane one day, went down, did an audition, and as I was coming out, Loretta Crawford ran out and said, hey, Tom, when are you coming down? I said, I won't be down till about May or June because I've got some stage work to do. She said, that's a pity. And then I came down, they sent me a script for Ryan, and that's how I came into it. But I didn't want, it's so funny, it really is. I said to Hines, I'm leaving. They said, what are you leaving for, Tom? I said, I'm going down to Melbourne to be an actor. Oh, yeah, good. So suddenly the general manager's up there. They called me into the office and said, Tom, what are you leaving for? I said, I'm going down to Melbourne to be an actor. Oh, yeah. And they thought, well, who is this guy? Must be mad. What's he talking about? Anyway, it was finished up and they transferred me down there. But all the time when I went down there, I said, I'm only coming down to do acting. I'm not really interested in that. So they accepted all that. And anyway, I got down there in June, I think it was. Did Orion. Then I did other things all the time, other shows. Matlock, Division 4. And also September, I did another audition. And then next minute I knew I was in Matlock Police. And there you go.
Wow.
So it's funny how things turn, isn't it? I mean,
Isn't it?
meeting that lady in Waltons.
Mm.
Then the naturopath said, go and do an audition. I did.
Mm.
And all those things, just on the timing of it all, just so funny. Yeah, so that's how it all came about. So that was in 1972. So 72 to 75, Matlock, and then other things happened after that. Other shows.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, it is extraordinary. Just synchronicity. It's all just meant to be.
It is, you know. You think, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And when it happened, you think, you know, because the thing that really changed it all, when I was, about 18, I had a motor scooter accident and I got my leg all smashed up, and then I had the osteomyelitis in it, and it took 3 years. And I look back sometimes saying, well, if I didn't have that accident, would I have ever came back into acting? You know, would I have got into acting? So you start questioning yourself about those things. You think, well, you know, it happened, but just always have a bit of an inquiry about if that didn't happen, would that happen? You know, so yeah, it's interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember the first day on a television set? Were you cool as a cucumber, or were you inwardly panicking?
There was one part I was nervous, but my first thing, I was a henchman for in Orion, and Orion got out of the car and I was up against the fence. You know, we had a big fight, and of course he punches missed, but a couple got me in the belly and busted a fence. And then they put me in a thing where I was going to be a stand-in for Rod, which I did. That was a bit of a mess up. But I did a homicide, a 2-hour special in homicide, and I was a constable, police constable. And they took me in the studio. I think that was the first time I was actually in the studio. And you had these 3 or 4 cameras floating around in the courtroom. And that made me quite nervous. Not because I'm guilty of any crime, but I was just, and there's so many people there. Like they had the jury and they had extras in there as spectators and so forth. And here I was. And I was funny, as I was supposed to be nervous as a character. Anyway, I finished the whole thing and they gave me a clap. I said, well done.
Wow.
And I said, what? And they said, now later on, someone said, gee, you played well, you look so nervous. I said, mate, I was very, very nervous. What are you talking about? And I said, yeah. So, yeah, I was nervous. But other than that, no, nothing ever really fazed me. I enjoyed it, you know. I really loved it. So nothing really got to me in the studio. So.
Oh, that's great.
Remember my lines and got going. And then I got Michael Pate, who was very helpful to me, and Vic Gordon and Paul Cronin were always very helpful. Michael Pate, of course, being overseas for all those years, told me a lot of little tricks they use over there, and I used to use them. Yeah.
What was the best piece of advice that stayed with you from Michael Pate?
There's quite a few, but there was one thing he told me, and I still do it unknowingly, but he said, when you exit, always step back. Don't go forward, step back and then move out. He said, that allows about a second or more screen time for you on screen because they can't cut until you move away. So I thought that was bad.
Wow.
And then he said, if you don't get mixed up and you have to think about it, you've got a close-up and you've got to think about something, he said, don't start thinking, what am I going to... He said, just count backwards from 100 or think what you're going to have for dinner and different things. And he told me the different positions when you're on the right or on the left, which people will look at first and different things like that. So he's pretty good on that. And he also said, you know, when you're reading, you want to do voice work or when you just want to read scripts straight out, is you get a newspaper and read. And if you make a mistake, stop and go to another section and keep reading until you don't make a mistake. Stuff like that was good.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. There was an interesting story about how you got the name Steve York in Matlock Police.
Yeah, there is actually.
Yeah.
Rita Mercurio, she was an American actor or actress. At the time they called actress. And then she came out, I think, with hair. I think it was hair. And she was then a producer on Matlock. And I had to have a talk to her about everything and the name and different things. And I said, well, and she said, what name do you want? Well, I said, I like Steve because of Steve McQueen. He said, all right, then we'll make it Steve. And I said, and you're from New York and you're nice, so I'll make it York. So Steve York became the name.
Very clever. Very clever. And playing Steve York was, as you've said, a boyhood dream come true.
Yeah.
What was it about playing a detective that thrilled you so much?
I wasn't so much playing the detective. It was all the action stuff, running and driving cars, having fights and jumping around and doing all those things. They were the most exciting things. A boyhood dream comes true, So I was very excited about that. I think I was the oldest kid in the block to hang up a 6-gun, so there you go. So, I enjoyed playing games a lot, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was great fun down there. And the writing and the scripts were good, yeah.
Paul Cronin became a great mate of yours. Can you share a favourite off-screen memory, perhaps one of those famous bush barbecues or pub lunches or whatever you did together?
Yeah, well, Paul was very good because his wife, Helen, they were lovely, and the kids, and I'm still friendly with one of his daughters. She lives in Victoria. But the one that I always remember, Paul, had nothing to do with the show, actually. Paul was great because I think when I finished up on Matlock, it was a few months I had nothing to do. And he said, come in, Tom, and I want you to paint my ceiling and house inside. So I said, yeah, okay. I'll never paint again. But anyway, I came in and I painted his walls and ceiling in his lounge room. So that was good. And he paid me,
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that was very kind of him to give me the opportunity of coming along, getting a bit of money. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
But he was just lovely. They were just friendly. And I used to do some painting at the time. And Helen was kind enough to buy one off me. And Jules, the daughter I know, she said, I still got your painting in a locker thing down there where she lives. She said, Mum kept it. I said, oh, my God. So there you go, yeah. But they were just lovely people. So was Big Gordon. Big Gordon was great.
Yeah.
Great timer, great love, because he used to do vaudevillian stuff down there. I forget the mob he used to work with. But he was a pleasure to work with. They were all good, the cast and crew, and Michael.
And darling Peter Gwynn.
Oh, Peter. God, yeah.
Oh, gorgeous man.
Gorgeous man, yes. You know what he used to do? We'd be in the makeup room. We'd have to walk down a location. So we'd come out and he'd wrap his arm around me pretty well every time. And he'd always tell me a story as we walked down. And he had his arm around me and talking in my ear about different little things, little stories that he'd make up. And one was about death and all. That was funny. But I was trying to think of it the other day. It's a bit vague, but yeah, he was a lovely man. So was his wife. What's her name?
Cecily Paulson.
Cecily.
Yeah.
Cecily Paulson, yeah.
Oh, she's beautiful. I still see her at the ABF meetings at Christmas time, the Actors Benevolent Fund.
Oh, right. Is she still going strong?
Yes, as far as I know. I didn't go to the last one, but gee, most years I see her. She's terrific.
She is.
Lovely person.
And he was a lovely man. He was a lovely man too. He was.
Yeah.
And I don't think, even with Sons and Daughters and all those shows, any show I've been in, I've yet to meet someone that was, a bit off, like everyone says, oh, they're terrible. I've never found that. I've found everyone very friendly, very warm, and always having a laugh, like Peter Phelps and Steve Comey and Ian Roy. When we were working together, we'd always have a laugh and a fight and a mess around.
Yeah.
That was always good. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And I've never found anyone that was the opposite of all that. We're all in it together.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Looking back now, what do you think made Steve York stand out from other TV cops of the time?
Oh, I don't know if he stood out at all, actually. I'm not quite sure about that. I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I know I had a fan club, and then I think someone else. Joe Hasham had one, and I got one, and I think Gary Day or someone of them had one too. But no, I think it's just a friend. The other guys in Homicide and all that used to walk around in suits, but I had jackets and trousers and different things that were way off from the police, but more or less very countrified, riding boots and all those things. So probably a little bit different in that respect. But I can't honestly say if I stood out or not, but I just enjoyed the show. And I guess enjoying the show and having good people around you, everyone stood out,
I've heard there was a jump onto a boat which went a bit wrong. but the director loved it and kept it in. What actually happened, and were you battered and bruised afterwards?
And have you been reading my memoir? It sounds like that's exactly what I've been talking
Not
about.
exactly, no.
Because I haven't finished it. Now, what you've been bringing up? When I did the fight scene, the first thing I did down there for Ryan, they got hold of me because similar look, I suppose. They said, "Can you come and stand in for Rod?" And out we went in this huge boat. It wasn't a prawning boat; it was some huge ocean-going type fishing boat. And Rod had what the whole idea was. Rod or Ryan jumps off the boat into the water and so forth, and I had to stand in for him. So they asked me, "What do you think?" And I thought, well, they must think I'm a stuntman, but I'm not. But I didn't tell them. I just went and did the job. And I said, well, what I'll do, I'll come out of the cabin and there's a pipe right near the rail. I'll stand on that and I'll jump off that and I'll go into the water. And they said, okay then, all right. And the director was Gary Conway. And Gary, I finished up, we all shared a house together many years later. But Gary was there. And they said, action. So out the cabin I came, missed the pipe and went A over T right over the railing into the water. And then the pickup boat got me and dragged me around the back of the boat to put me on board again. And I said, oh, my God. I said, no, that was all right. And I've never seen the show, so you say they kept it, eh? Well, there you go. That's not too bad to know.
Yeah, they kept it. Apparently they kept it.
Yeah, because it looked funny.
Yeah.
Brian the hero, yeah, so different things, eh? God.
Were you sore and bruised, though, afterwards?
No, I just went over. The only thing about that time, then I came back and I was freezing, coming out of that cold water. And I'm not a whiskey drinker or a brandy drinker, but I had a couple. And then I started feeling a bit drunk at the end of it all to go home, so that was too good. But anyway, to say the least, they'd never use me again to stand in for Rod. So there you go.
Yeah. Now, John, did fans start recognising you in the street once Matlock Police took off? And what was the oddest place someone ever stopped you?
Matlock Police, the fan club started up and they kept on quite, I suppose, demanding, oh, we want you to come here, we want you to come there, tell us what's coming up. And they were nice, they were all lovely. But I just can't remember. I mean, people would come up to you and say, oh, hello. And that doesn't worry me in the least because I don't get tied up in all that. And I say, oh, hello. We talk and move on, and someone might come up and say something, and we have a talk. But the only thing I remember, I was over in England actually on a tour, and that was with the Sons and Daughters tour. And I was there by myself with this mob, and we went out to Stonehenge, and everyone there grabbed me, and someone grabbed me in the streets in London and said, take your sunglasses off, we know who you are. And I said, oh, that matter. So, I pulled around pillar to post over in England sometimes. Yeah. My first trip over there, so that was interesting. But as far as any different things, I can't really remember. People just come up and say, oh, yeah, what's your name? Yeah, and I said, yeah, how are you? And have a talk. And if they wanted me to sign something, I would. But even today, people come up and say, I know you, don't I, somewhere? I said, oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's still interesting. Some people know me, but some, I've got older, of course, and it's been a long time off and on. So, nothing really stands out. There's probably something, but I just can't remember it.
We'll get to one a bit later because I know about that one in another place. After Matlock, though, you kept moving beautifully as a working actor. The Sullivans, The Box, Cop Shop and more. Did that period feel exciting, or was it more a case of keeping the wheels turning and saying yes to the next job?
Oh, just keeping the wheels turning, saying yes,
Yeah.
And then I was in Melbourne at that time, and different things were happening. And Don Batty, bless him, he was very good. He was the one that got me into The Box because I was doing it. I did an audition for something else. Ramsey, I think it was.
Oh, that was one of my shows.
That's right.
Young Ramsey.
Young Ramsey and Serge Lazarus got the part with Johnny, what's his name? John.
Hargraves.
Johnny Hargraves. Yeah, Johnny. But, Serge, a lovely actor.
Beautiful.
He got the part, and then I finished up in The Box. And that was for 12 months. And I think around that time I did an audition for Ken Hannon, who was going to direct the Dawn Fraser movie. And I did one for him a couple of years before that, and nothing happened about that one. But with the Dawn Fraser movie, I got the part and played Dawn's coach.
Oh.
That made me come up to Sydney.
Right.
And I came up and I stayed at Lorraine Bailey's house, and she allowed me to rent her house out. So I was there for a couple of years at her home in Sydney. And did the Dawn Fraser movie, which was an absolutely wonderful experience. And Dawn, to see her swim. And the thing was, the young girl that played Dawn, she was a Jillaroo and she couldn't swim properly. So Dawn taught her how to swim the Dawn way. And when Dawn Fraser swims, there's hardly any water that splashes up. She just parts the water. And at the end, Bronwyn, she could swim just like Dawn. And when you see them both in the pool, you wouldn't know who was who. And Dawn was just an amazing experience to meet her and talk to her and all that. Yeah. And so was Ken Hanna. Ken Hanna was great. So we had a lovely time in that.
What was that film called?
Dawn.
Just Dawn.
Dawn. I believe it won an award in Russia. I don't know how good it did over here because I don't know, but it was on, but it was like a pretty well documentary, I take it. But and the lovely thing about Dawn Fraser, when she touched goal, I think it was in Tokyo, she touched goal with the hand that had her mother's wedding ring on, the gold wedding ring.
Oh.
And she touched goal with her mother's wedding ring.
Oh.
So that's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, she's a lovely person, Dawn Fraser. Top bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also did other movies, Raw Deal, Run, Rebecca, Run, Breaking Loose, Summer City. Did you enjoy those projects?
Yeah, mainly a lot of those were with Phil Avalon. He's a good friend. So, yeah, he did that. And then I think Run, Rebecca, Run was for someone else. I don't know who that was for. But I did a lot of TV movies for Grundy's too, with Johnny Jarrett. I can't think what the name of that was. We were a couple of brothers or prisoners, whatever, and we escaped. And he was lucky he got away, but I finished up getting shot in the head somehow. So, yeah, there were a few. I'm just trying to think of one. We did one up there in Daydream Island. I can't think what the name of that was now. But Ray Marr was in it, and Ray Marshall, you might know Ray Marshall. You know Ray Marr, of course. Ray Marr's funny, bit of trivia. He came into the theatre when we were both in 12th Night. We were doing, I think it was a pantomime, and I played King Padula. And Ray came in with a couple of his football friends, and he finished up playing my horse's bum. He was dressed up in horse gear, and he played my horse's bum. But he was great, Ray. Oh, Ray, yeah, known Ray for a long time. He worked up there on 12th Night, but we got to him very friendly. And he came down to Melbourne, and then we were together, and we were driving around Manly, and he used to have a lot of machines. You put, 20-cent machines, you put your finger in.
Oh, yeah.
Your temperature or whatever. Yeah. And he had quite a few. So I was with him that day driving around having a look, and he got a call, and he had an audition, but he got a call saying that he got the part for Home and Away. I said, well done. So I finished up buying other of these machines.
How gorgeous.
Yeah, and he's still there. So I don't know how long ago that is, because it must have been years now he's been in that.
Decades, I'd say.
He's good, though. He's a good fella.
Oh, he's lovely. Everyone loves him.
Yeah.
I've met him once or twice and really liked him. I really, very warm person.
Yeah. He had a pretty good career up in Brisbane before he came into theatre. I think he came down to Sydney and did Dimboola. But up in Brisbane, when we were doing that, he used to broadcast on TV, I think, ABC, for doing rugby. Yeah, I think it was. So, he did a bit of all that stuff. And he was in life insurance. I shouldn't tell him too much about it.
No, this is your story, not his.
Yeah, I know that. Oh, yeah, but I just like talking about people.
I know.
But he lived from Goondiwindi, I think, and came into Brisbane. Yeah, no, great guy, top bloke.
But then, of course, came Sons and Daughters and David Palmer.
Yeah.
A role so many people still adore.
Yeah.
And what was the casting process like? And did you sense at the time that it might become such a defining part of your career?
No. It's like Matlock Police. They asked me to come and do an audition. I said, yeah, okay. I had no idea what the audition was about for Matlock. Didn't know. I just went in there, had a script, did the part. And I said, okay, see you later, bye. And then the same with Sons and Daughters, I think. Don Batty was all tied up in that. And I did the audition. I only think I did the one audition. I don't think I went back for more, just the one audition and just waited. And then I don't think maybe I knew about it, what it was going to be for. I'm not quite sure. But it didn't worry me. And anyway, I did it and I got the part.
Absolutely, you did.
And it's amazing enough, when I did a Division 4, I played a bit of a footballer. And there's a couple of girls in the street, and one girl was Leela Hayes. And Leela Hayes and I finished up together in this little unit with another actor and girl. And so Leela and I had a bit of a fling type thing at the time, nothing big, of course, but we were there and the cops came and so forth. Little did we know that years later that we'd be husband and wife in Sons and Daughters. So all those things are good. Yeah.
Oh,
She was great.
yeah.
Leela was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was good to work with, great to work with.
Yeah. How did your 4-year run on Matlock Police prepare you for stepping into the heightened emotional world of a hit soap?
I don't know. It sounds strange, doesn't it? But I don't think too much about any of it, actually. I just, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, off we go, do it. And I don't know, nothing seems to faze me. I like doing it. If I get a job, I go and do it and think, yeah, okay, listen to the director and just do it. Nothing really gets me. And with Sons and Daughters, they're all friendly, you know. And Brian Blaine, I met Brian Blaine years ago. I gave him a lift home from a theatre when I used to work for Paramount Pictures. And like 20 years later, here we were together in Sons and Daughters. So it's quite amazing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we feel friendly and give us the lines. Okay, here we go. Off we go. So nothing really gets faced by much at all, actually. They want to do it and I do it and I enjoy doing it. You know, like Rowy's great. She's good to work with. We have fun. A bit nervous working with Rowie because she's had a lot of experience. I told her that one day. She says, all right. She said, I was very nervous working with you too. Yeah, it's all good.
But tell me, how much of Tom Richards was in David Palmer? Were you completely different from him?
Oh, I'm not a deep method actor, but you know, in doing those things, you don't want to get too involved. And I just play it as I saw it, really. I mean, my brother was a truckie, so sometimes I'd be, you know, Joe Blow type thing, man next door, trying to be that way. And I just kept on playing it that way. A friend for everyone.
But David had some wonderfully specific quirks. Did you make those up or were they done by the writers?
But different little things came in.
Yeah.
I know in Matlock, I used to click my fingers and hit my fist a lot because some of the crew used to do that. And I thought, I like that idea. So when I came, sometimes I was coming out of the police station, I'd click on my fingers and hit my fist and off I'd go, you know. So things like that you pick up from someone. But Sons and Daughters, yeah, not quite sure about all those things, no. That's interesting to know that.
Yeah, interesting. Soap operas thrive on outrageous twists. Were there ever any storylines on Sons and Daughters where you thought, oh, honestly, now we've gone gloriously mad?
Oh, yeah, a few things.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. It went on very well, Sons and Daughters, because everyone was just waiting for the two kids, like Peter Phelps and Ellie Fowler, to meet, being brother and sister. So everyone was waiting for that to happen. What's going to happen? I know that kept the show going for a while. But after that, it just became like another soapy marriage. People getting married, people dying, you know, type of gay people would come into it and all those things. Happened with all the shows. But, yeah, sorry, what was the question again? I got carried.
You know, did any of the storylines just think we've gone too far?
You know, no, not. So I'm one of those people that writers are getting paid, they're writing it, and I thought, even when I'm sitting here watching a movie, my wife might say, that's a load of rubbish. I said, no, it's all right. The writers are writing it and they accepted it. And it's mainly with the shows. The one that really got to me was the time that we went into holidays and someone was killed. And they had me and Leela and I think someone else, and then Danny Hancock. He was the criminal, and it finished up on a really high note. And I thought, that's pretty good. And so Earl came back. We knew what was what, but I thought that was a good cliffhanger. But really, I think Sons and Daughters had some fairly good cliffhangers, what I remember. And they were good writers in those days.
Yeah.
I suppose they are today, but and even Crawford's, as you would know, I thought there were some wonderful writers in Crawford's days.
Yeah.
In a lot of shows. Yeah.
And with Rowie Wallace, what was she like to spar with on set? I mean, she could just light up a scene, and you could too, just by walking into it.
Yeah, no, she was good. She was, you know, and the thing about that, you know, I'm probably giving stories away, but, you know, she got called Pat the Rat from Peter Phelps.
Yeah.
And, but she was good. And you could probably work well with her too. But you never noticed anything high and mighty about her. She had a good presence, right? When she walked in, she had a very strong presence.
She sure does.
And, and even today, with all the sickness and all that, we have the reunions, sons and daughters reunions, and she's always there, and people love her and just got that presence about her. And she should have really, before all that happened, should have gone overseas. I think she would have been great. Would have done some great success over in America.
Yes.
But she never did, and she's in a lot of things. No, she just had a good presence about her. Easy to work with.
Oh, yeah. I really like Rowie.
Yeah, never bitch about anything. She was great.
No. I shared the same agent as her. And on Friday nights, we'd go and see Barbara and have a little drinky poo, Barbara Lane.
Yeah.
And she was there, and I'll never forget her saying that song, I'm going to write a classic, I'm going to go to the attic, or whatever it was. And, and she'd sing this all the time. I wonder whether she has.
I don't know.
But she was just divine, and she was right up there at the time.
And she's got a great laugh too.
Yep.
She's got a great laugh. As does Stephen Comey. Stephen Comey, we went over to Belgium, and Stephen Comey, what a great laugh. When he laughs, you got to laugh because it just sounds so funny.
Yeah.
It's so enjoyable. Yeah. But Rowie was great and still is.
Yeah.
So was Leela. Leela was good. You could work with Leela and change stuff in the process of actually in the performance. Might overdo a bit here, but she'd always work with you and never complain. She's a lady for props, and everything's got to be. Actually, all the props she used to use had to be correct, and for what her character was.
Well, I mean, was there a cast member most likely to stir up mischief or make everyone laugh between takes? Was anyone like that?
No, but I've worked with a lot of actors that I've done with. Johnny Hargraves.
Yeah.
We were doing a Matlock once, and we said something, and we just couldn't stop laughing. And here we were laughing our heads off. I don't know what it was about, but I used to laugh with him a lot when he used to do a job. Just burst out laughing. And there was another actor who I can't remember, couldn't stop laughing with him. And the things weren't that funny, we just got carried away, and you were probably nerves, whatever it might have been, but we'd start laughing. It was all good fun. Yeah. I mean, Comey and all that you'd laugh at. Probably Peter Phelps, not too much. Pat McDonald, no, not too much. Ian Rawlings, never worked with Ian that much. Brian Blaine, though, he used to laugh a lot. He was good fun. He did something. I did I scratched my ear one day when we were doing a scene together, and we finished. He said, "What did you scratch your ear for?" I said, "No, I don't know, just itchy." But the thing was, this scratch ear, Michael played. He scratch your ear, people look over at you. So I didn't tell him that, but we just had a laugh about it. So, yeah. And things like that.
Little bit of upstaging, you mean?
That's the word. That's the word.
A good old trick.
A good old
trick. Yeah.
Standing on the left side of someone.
Yeah.
People who watch you. It's like in Matlock Police, Michael Pate, God bless him. They'd have, as you know, they'd have cameras hanging outside the car and lights on the front and different things like that. And you're driving along out in the main road. I don't think you do that today. Out in the main road. And Michael will be on the phone, on the two-way, and he'd put it up, and you had to be careful because where he held it would block your face.
Oh.
So you had to be a bit careful, but I said, "Oh, bugger, who cares? I keep driving."
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Keep safe.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
it doesn't matter.
No. And the other thing they told me about that too was Georgie Miller, God bless him. And he said, "Listen, Tom, when he's got his collar up and his shirt down, you roll your sleeves up and open your tie up. Now, if he's got his tie down and you don't open that, you put your tie up. Be different altogether." So I took that with me.
This is George Miller, Noddy. Noddy George Miller.
Yeah, Noddy, you know Noddy. Yeah. Noddy,
of course.
Yeah, Noddy. Yeah.
Oh, good on him.
He
good
told
on
me
him
that.
for saying that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He said to do whatever there, do the opposite. So you're not the same.
Well, it was the same in Young Doctors, putting hands in pockets or folding arms in the corridor when we were talking in the background, Yeah. Like, what are you going to do today? Are you going to put... It was mad. Absolutely mad, but we laughed.
Yeah.
But I understand on Sons and Daughters there was a studio fire that became quite serious.
Oh,
Can
that's
you talk
right.
us through it?
Yeah. whose house was that? I think that was Ken James's house.
Yeah.
Caught fire, and he was in studio. I think it was one of the big studios, and they had the fire brigade and all that there, and they had the whole set. And the fire, and I think there was myself, Kenny James, and someone else. I'm not quite sure. Could have. I don't know who it was now, but we had to walk through it, and it was damn dangerous because those flames.
Yeah.
They had them all under control.
Yeah.
All worked, and they could turn them off and turn them on. But that went so high up, and the heat when we were going through it was intense. And we got through it all right, and they stopped. But after that, Channel 7 never had a fire inside the studio again, even though we had the fire brigade and everything there. But it was a huge fire. It was a huge area. I mean, the whole set nearly was on fire, and we were walking through it. But it was all gas cylinders and so forth. It was all under control. So, yeah, that was pretty dangerous, that one. I never forgot that one. She was so hot. And we kept holding close so we wouldn't put our arms out so far.
Yeah.
And get burnt.
As you said, the Sons and Daughters was a huge hit in Europe. What was it like to suddenly be mobbed by thousands of fans in Belgium as well as in England, but worse in Belgium, I believe?
Yeah, it was worse in Belgium.
Yeah.
We went over, and Vic Dennis, a journalist for Dag Allemaal, he came out and did some photos and a story of Sons and Daughters out here. And then he went back, and then he said to his boss, we should bring someone over. So we were fortunate. It was Stephen Comey, myself, and Pat McDonald. They took us over to Belgium. And the people who had organised it and put money into it was a Mercedes-Benz dealer.
Oh, right.
And they took us up to his factory's office, his display centre. We met him. We came down, and there's about 3 people there with a couple of staff. And I said, hello, how are you? And they gave us flowers. He said, thank you. And they talked to us and so forth. And then he said, oh, well, we've got to go down now. We said to Vic, who was with us, I said, at the end, we said, geez, that didn't go too well. I hope this works out better than that. We'll be going home. And he said, yeah, it does. He said, that wasn't too good at all, was it? A few people. Anyway, we had to go down to the man's, his daughter's boutique shop down in the town. And as we were driving down, we said, all these people there, what the hell's happening down there? And we finished up, and there were thousands of people waiting for us.
Gee.
And we said, holy hell. The police were there. They made a corridor for us, and the 3 of us went in, and the 4 of us went in. And we went in, and the idea was they'd let people in, one by one or whatever, and we'd sign autographs. Well, there were so many people there, they were nearly pushing the glass frames in, banging and the whole thing was rocking. So we didn't sign any autographs or anything. We're just unbelievable. We couldn't believe it. And then they opened the door, and the police escort took us out. We got in the car again, and off we went. And from that day on, everywhere we went, we were just mobbed by thousands of people.
Gosh.
We went to different musical concerts and so forth, and we were just mobbed. It was unbelievable.
This is in Belgium? Or?
Belgium, yeah, Belgium.
Wow.
We were in Antwerp, in the middle of Antwerp, right? And we were to meet, and we came to the hotel, and we were there, and we looked out. And I can't tell you how many people, but there were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people there. And they took us out and put us in a car, and people were pulling us and dragging us and giving us babies to hold and kissing us and dragging us off. And they just couldn't believe the people. And, it was unbelievable. Even a couple of years later, Danny Roberts came with us, and he couldn't believe the people that we went somewhere for a concert or something or other. He said, there's so many people. He said, I thought the Beatles were arriving.
Yeah. Well, you likened it to Beatlemania, in actual fact, in one of the blogs. So
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep saying about 20,000 people because it was in an intersection, and all you could see down both roads were people. And they're all there yelling out for us, and then came up when we came out. And we cars couldn't move. And they're all over us, pulling us and jamming us. So it was spectacular. And even some of those people from those days, I still have as friends on Facebook.
Wow.
And they've kept in touch. They were lovely people. Yeah, they've kept in touch. Yeah. All those Monicas and Nancys and Ilses and then I did a record over there, and Gaytan. She was there, and we had to ride horses, and I fell off the bloody thing and so forth. But she was a part of the song. And, all those people, still contact today. Same with the people in England and other fans that got in touch with sons and daughters. And they're just on Facebook. We keep as a friend, So, yeah, it's all good.
I mean, it looked glamorous. It looks terrific, and lots of fun. But were you a bit intimidated at any stage?
No, I don't think I was. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah.
I never went away saying, oh, my God.
No.
But things, I don't know, it must be just friendly. I'm a large family, and people, even now come up, and even when I was in England, people come up, and I wouldn't say, swear at them, go, what are you doing? Yeah, I just talk to them. I want something sign, and move on. Yeah. No.
Now, you left the show shortly before it ended to pursue a film role that unfortunately didn't eventuate. How do you feel about the decision now, looking back with a bit of distance?
Well, of course, disappointed. It was going to happen, then it wasn't going to happen, then it was going to happen. And I think I went over to America. I'm not quite sure now, or went to England, one of the two, and came back, and they said, it's going to be on, Tom. I forget the guy's name. He's dead and gone now. But he said, it's going to be on. And I said, all right. And so I said to Donna, I'm going to leave. I'm going to do a movie. And they said, oh, yeah, okay, all right, or whatever. And I left, and it collapsed. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
But what they did, I told them, and a couple of months later, of course, the show was finishing, but they brought me back just for a couple of scenes. And I thought, well, geez, I should have stayed. But that happens. But, yeah, I shouldn't have trusted him.
Now, is there anyone from that whole era, an actor, crew member, producer, director, who you think never got the credit that they truly deserved?
Let me think. A few actors, possibly, maybe. Belgium gets all right. And Stephen Comey, he dropped out and did something else. I thought he was quite good. Directors, yeah. Well, they all seem to do well with Crawford's, and they went off for other things too, doing other shows. Ian got more recognition because he finished up in Neighbours. I think we all could have got more recognition. I went over to America and I should have stayed, but I came back because Phil Avalon wanted me to do another movie. But I think I should have stayed over there and looked around because I got an agent and she sent me off to an audition to do some travel show, but I didn't click that. But then he asked me to come back, so I did, and did a movie, which was Sher Mountain. But yeah, I can't really think. There were so many talented people there.
Yeah. The
people I find disappointing, I worked with some wonderful actors, really good actors, but gave it away because they couldn't get the work, As in Matt Lockhart and everything I've done.
Yeah.
My God, that was great. And you should be working. Even now when I see young people that I've directed in plays, they're all in the industry somewhere along the line. They're all working somewhere in the industry or trying to. You think, bloody hell, you're so good. How come you don't get work? One girl that I know, she went for 22 auditions just to get an agent. And they refused her. I said, you've got to be joking.
Jeez.
You've got to be joking.
Yeah.
Because you're so good. Yeah. And it's amazing. Yeah.
And you wonder why.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You know talent.
Yeah.
I know talent.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
And they pick some dude, you watch TV and they got some commercial. Go, what is that guy? How come that guy got that? It's so annoying.
Yeah.
And you think, I know some people.
With the big teeth.
Yeah, Trivago. Yeah, good one. Yeah.
Shouldn't say that, should I?
Well, everyone says it. He even came up on Facebook, I think. My wife mentioned him as soon as he came on,
Did it?
Yeah, but you see some people, you think, oh, my God, why?
Yeah.
I see something in them or something. I'm bugging to find that. And you see some good people on commercials, but you don't see them anywhere else. Today now, yeah.
I know.
When I started off, you had a rough head. You could either be a footballer, a cop, or a prisoner, or a bad guy. So, there are a few parts and not so many people.
Yeah.
But as it's gone on now, you've got to have a lot more talent. You've got to be able to probably dance and sing and do whatever just to keep getting the parts.
An all-rounder.
All-rounder, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I've thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
Now, soon after you left Sons and Daughters, you appeared in Home and Away, as you said before. Did it feel like a very different machine, or did the rhythms of soap life stay much the same?
Oh, it was the same, really. To me, it was. Different character, enjoyable. And the directors, I think I knew the directors, you You got the script, you got the scenes, you got the lines.
Yeah.
Just do it and be a part of it. I mean, you can see I'm not a method actor. I don't get too involved in any of it.
You just love the performance and love being with the actors and the crew. And
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think about it, but I don't get involved in it. I think, what am I actually saying? What am I saying to the other person? Am I listening to them? What are they saying to me? And how does it work out? And if you're following the story, you think this is where it's heading, or you're following the scene, this is where it's going. And you just try to sort of stay with that flow. And if you stay with that flow, to me, it always seems to work out, You look different, you be different. I mean, in Home and Away, there's one thing I did with one of the girls. I had to give her a look, and I looked like a real cheesy, dirty, down low Theo. I think I played I forget what the character's name was. And all I did was look, gave her a smile and look. But it was the actual shot that made it look, really bad and pathetic, the way the director shot it. So, so it wasn't me thinking, oh, okay, I'm just smiling at her. And that's when I thought, I'll just smile at her and say hello, and I came across a bit of a sleaze.
Yeah.
So different things like that.
Yeah. Well, John Hargraves once told me, he said, think through your eyes.
Yeah.
It's most important. And maybe that sleaze came through your eyes unintentionally.
Yeah, possibly did. I'll tell you what, it's funny John says that, but Michael Pate said, the one thing he always told me, he said, when you're on stage, you're like you're on a mountain, so you be very expressive. When you're doing TV or video, it's like you're underneath an umbrella. You keep it together.
Yep.
And you pull it back and you keep it down, you keep it in your chest or your gut, what you're thinking.
Yep.
And then you let it go.
Yep.
So you don't get too much movement and you think about it. You see some of the actors today, when they cut to them, they're just very still, but you can see them. There's something coming away from them. A lot of the actors, to me, when you see them on TV, they're not believable because they've got no believability coming out of what they're saying. They're just saying lines. And you see some people really think about what they're like. Oh, yeah, I believe them because I can see what they're doing. They've got some meaning behind what they're saying. That's what I find. I'm a bit of a bore when I'm sitting with people and think, oh, they're not good. Look at that. They're just saying lines. But, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the same.
Yeah.
But I was always taught in drama school that you need to be absolutely critical. That's what it teaches you. It teaches you to be a critic. Even if you're not working, you know what's going on, you know what's real and what's not. So
you're right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, it stays with you always. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also continued in film and then later returned to the stage. You also directed in local arts theatre and ran a video production company.
Yes, I did. Travel in my video production company. I was shooting for quite a few years. I shot a lot of fishing videos, traveled the world, went to Egypt, went all around Australia, went out to the Rolly Shoals, up to Solomon Islands with these fishing experts who were great. And I used to direct it, shoot it, put sound on them and come back and edit the whole thing and do the whole lot myself and help them talk. So what we do, instead of having a script, we shoot the whole thing. If he caught a fish, we'd shoot it and then we'd sit down and we'd talk about it, or we might talk about it while he's doing it. But at the end, I said, okay, let's talk about what we've done here. And then we cut it up. So hold the vision for a while, let him bring the fish in, get in the boat with him, look at him fishing, look at the rod, look at the reel, look at the fish. While he's talking, we're doing all that. So I had a fantastic time and went to South America and caught some great fish. And then we were in the Nile. We caught this beautiful big Nile. What was it? Nile, not Nile, but it's like a barramundi. And it was huge. 3 guys, good-sized guys, and the head and the tail still hung over in the space by itself.
Wow.
And then what these guys do, you don't want to go with them too much because you don't eat fish. They catch a fish and they let it go. The trouble is, when you're shooting that stuff, they're so involved in fishing that you start early in the morning and finish late in the afternoon. But when you're like over in, say, South Africa, I thought, look, what we've got to do here is we've got to shoot different things. So instead of spending a day going out into the Congo or whatever it was, the Amazon rather, and shooting stuff, I had to say, well, listen, when we're driving back, I want you to stop at this village, native village, and I'll go around and I'll shoot different things, and you guys can be driving through and all that. So we spent half an hour with me running around shooting stuff, and even the pyramids and stuff like that. And it was funny, in Egypt, they couldn't believe that someone would come over and go into the desert and wanted to shoot stuff like fishing. They thought we were coming over to do something, very sinister. And they sent we had to go and get a new press release or press card when we arrived. And we went different areas, and they had the police and the soldiers around us. And then we went down the Nile, and we had to take a colonel with us from the army. We had a journalist with us. He was always with us making notes. And the colonel, every time we finished, and he's lucky because we had a big Betacam camera that we could actually play back the stuff we shot. So every night we had to sit down and play it back to him. He was even with us during the day.
Wow.
But he had to look at it. And even on the last night, when we finished, he had to come and sit and watch what we shot because they couldn't believe that we'd come all that way just to go down and shoot fish. And he was good to us in one way because one day he said he couldn't be with us and he took off and he had to give some licenses to some camel people. And what he did, he brought the camel people up to us.
Wow.
On that night that we stayed in the sandbar thing. So it was great because we went and shot all the camels and got some camel milk. And then one other day we're out there on the Nile and on the Sahara Desert, and there's a little boy, he must have been about 12, if that, and he was sent out by his parents, who were not that close, but they were a fair way away, and he was there looking after all these goats. And we got off and we went over, and he came over and we took some shots of him, and he went and got me some goat's milk. And that. So interesting times, fish and all that, beautiful fish.
Yeah.
And down there in the Amazon was absolutely fantastic.
And seeing the world.
Seeing the world.
Wow.
And we did a Helco tackle in Australia. And one great guy, I'll mention his name, Rod Harrison. They called him Harrow. He's not doing too much today because he's getting too old, I think. But he could just pick up to know where a fish was. I think we were on Fraser Island one day. He said, see that bush over there? Don't do anything. There's some flathead over there. Cast his line out. What did he do? He got this big flathead. But he was they were brilliant, all of them. Cole Roberts and all those people were just brilliant. Yeah, flying over, doing all that stuff. A lot of hard work.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Did being an actor make you kinder and more understanding, being behind the camera?
Yeah, it does. It did, yeah. You're shooting it and they're having a bit of trouble thinking things. And we'd say lines and think, oh, yeah, we do that. That's not too bad. Okay, let's have a crack at that. Yeah, just go for it. That's all right. And we did. Yeah, you can't get too upset with people when you're shooting something. You know, they've got to be nice and relaxed and do what they do best.
Yeah.
No.
And particularly when they're not actors.
That's right.
They're actuals,
yes,
as we call them in the... Yeah.
But they knew about fishing and all that stuff, you know. And plus corporate videos. They did a lot of corporate videos too for different things. And they were all good. And
it brought the money in.
It did.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Directing it and editing and the whole thing. The pity about all those travels overseas, I did a couple, which was good. I said, I think you should send this off. And they did. They sent it off to a mob in Melbourne, and they put it all together. But for some unknown reason, they never released it. I know the guy that was running it, he's a judge, and I don't think he really wanted to push it out too much, you know. But he used to do photography as well as fishing. So you do all the fishing, and then he'd do photography of the fish or photography of the surroundings. But I think a couple were put on KLM, I think, aircraft for videos, documentaries. Yeah, so
Yeah, very good.
And then I've only thought the other day, what an idiot I was. I should have looked after and tried to get myself as a director on the soapies.
Yes.
Didn't think of it at the time.
Yeah, well, you were probably too busy.
Well, yes, I was at the time, I suppose, but I should have been a bit more thoughtful about the whole thing. Anyway, time.
Well, that brings me to another question. When younger actors come to you for advice, what's the one thing you always tell them?
Don't do it. No. I mean, when I do the directing, I just tell them. I tell them what to do, but I said you've got to keep at it. You've got to little things I used to do, like I was talking about different things like movement and so forth. Beyond that, and know your lines, know your scripts, and get amongst it. I used to have an acting skill, but I never tell them how to move and where to look and different things like that. But you just got to be in there with it, you know, and keep at it. And it doesn't happen. I mean, it happened for me, but I was just fortunate. But this day and age, you've got to be persistent and got to believe in yourself mainly. Don't take any negativities too much and hold them. Keep being positive in yourself.
Tom, I think back when we were, at the prime of our careers, I think it was more of a village, we all knew each other.
Yeah.
Well, you and I didn't, but I'm sure we'll meet someday.
Yeah.
And, it was a village and people cared so much for each other. It was,
They did.
as you say, every show you were on was like a family.
It was. It was a nice family. It was like sons and daughters. I mean, I suppose we used to have this thing on a Wednesday because that was the last day of the studio for us. And it was the prick of the week thing. So if anyone, it could be good, bad or indifferent, wouldn't matter. But someone was like, let's put them up. That's the prick of the week. And the guys would go out and get a few cartons of grog and we'd come back and all sit around. And the person that was the prick of the week would get an award and we'd all cheer and happy and everyone just sit around and there was food there and we'd all have a good time every Wednesday. So that was exciting.
Nice.
And
that's nice.
And with Matlock, we'd always either out in the bush and you're close to a town like Warrandyte or something, lunchtime, so we'd all jump in a car and all go off to the pub, play a bit of snooker or whatever, get a counter lunch and come back. Or out in the bush we couldn't get away, so we'd have a big barbecue, which were great. They were great days. We'd all sit around laughing and talking. Because, as you know, in those days, all we had was a little caravan, dirty old caravan, and freezing cold in the morning with a two-bar heater in a caravan, trying to keep us warm. So, yeah.
Oh, yes. And boys and girls in the same caravan. We used to all bung in together.
That's right.
And none of this luxury caravans for us.
No. We get changed outside.
Yeah.
Or sit down in the gutter and have your dinner or breakfast, something, whatever, your lunch.
That's it.
Yeah, no.
That was it.
I mean, I was surprised when I did something for, forget what it was now. They had catering. I thought, what's bloody catering? What? And I think that was Grundy's, I think. I don't think Crawford's had it. Crawford's might have had it.
Oh, yes, Crawford's had it.
Might have been.
We always had great
Holiday Island or something like that.
Catering.
Yeah. So we never had catering.
And it was explained to me that in actual fact it was more effective financially for the production company because, and I'd never thought about this, because you didn't have to go anywhere to go away for lunch. You were there. It saved time in travel and in ordering, et cetera, et cetera. So, we only had half an hour, 3/4 of an hour for lunch, but, it was rather cost effective, which I hadn't thought about it before.
Yeah,
a friend of mine said that last week.
Yeah, probably right too.
Yeah.
Because we used to have to drive off and come back, so you lost an hour in a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, people may not realise you're also a cartoonist.
Yeah.
Has drawing always been part of your creative life?
Yeah, my brother was a good artist and I picked it up from him, so I used to draw and do different things. But that was Dumas Duck. It was funny. I met the chap. I can't think. I should have known him. But he wrote it and he's talking to me. I said, gee, I know what I can do. You write it and I'll draw it. And he said, I said, what is it? He said, Dumas Duck. I said, okay, fair enough. So we started doing it and I hawked it around. I gave it to Woman's Day and they said, and the girl who took it put it in a top drawer. I said, thank you for keeping it anyway. And something happened and the thing they had on their Woman's Day was dropped. And they're trying to find something else and she must have opened the drawer up and saw this cartoon. The next minute, they phoned me up and here we were doing the Dumas Duck cartoons. Well, when that happened, I think it was in Sons and Daughters, I thought, that looks terrible. So I got better at it. I thought, no, I'm being paid for this. I must do better. So for the last few episodes, I kept on really doing what I should have done at the start, making it much neater and tidier. And then Simon Townsend Wonderwheel came in. So he took the pages and they dropped Dumas Duck. But while it happened, I thought, that's great. And the other chap, Les, I think his name was Les, he used to write it and I used to draw it. I thought that's funny. When it was crappy as far as I was concerned, they kept on using it. When I got really into it, kept it going for a while, they dropped it.
Right.
But I've done a few cartoons around the place, but I haven't done a lot for the last few years. I haven't got back into it. I used to do a lot of painting, speed painting at markets.
You've done that too?
Yeah.
You've done that?
Yeah.
Gosh, I have a lot of respect for those people.
Well, there's a chap I met in Melbourne. I don't know how I come to meet him. He's a lovely man. He was an artist, a brilliant artist. But he used to go to the markets. I can find out. I used to go to the markets with him. And he said, why don't you do it? And I said, all right. So I wouldn't do it all day, but he'd do speed painting, and I'd have my paintings that I've done during the week, like outback scenes and stuff like that. And I'd sell them for $20. That was back in late 70s, I suppose, 75. And he look, there was a thing he had to do, and he said, I'm going to take my time about this. It was an old sailing ship or whatever in the rough seas. He said, I'm going to take my time about this. I'm going to really spend a lot more time on them. Well, he finished it in a day, and it was just brilliant. He was a brilliant artist. But yeah, I did that, $20 a day. Sell about 4 or 5 paintings in the day. That was good fun. And I thank him very much for putting him into it.
Great.
That's one of the paintings that Helen Cronin got, that she's kept.
Oh, lovely. Now, I've heard that you're interested in earthing.
Oh, yeah, big time.
For listeners and me who've never heard of it, what is it?
I haven't heard of it. Earthing?
Never heard of it.
Oh, you've got to go on the internet and have a look at it. Earthing, grounding. What it is, it's a negative. You've got the things, got silver threads through them, things or whatever, and it's connected to the grounding part. You haven't got to turn it on. You haven't got to turn the switch on, power switch. You just plug it in, and there's an earthing point. And it goes to the earthing that your powers earth to the ground. And what it is, the energy coming out, it takes all the negative inflammation stuff out of your body and transfers it to the ground and comes back. As soon as I hop on the bed, I'm asleep straight away. It's great. It makes you relaxed. But you'd have to go on to find out the full meaning of it. But the guy that did it, he is an electric technician or something or other, and he's tied up with television. And then he found out about this, and I think he used copper or something for the time being. But now it's really big industry. And earthing, it's called earthing or grounding.
Wonderful.
But it really helps people.
Yeah.
Have a look on the internet and you'll find out about it. But yeah.
Oh, I sure will.
I'm a big believer in it. I use a strap around my wrist when I sleep, and I sleep on it. And when I go away anywhere, I take a little small pad with me and plug it in and sleep on it, and it just relaxes you.
Great.
And the thing is, I've got one on the couch, and I lean back, and I'm not tired, and suddenly I'm falling asleep because it's just relaxing.
Oh, I do that anyway. Particularly when my partner has some very boring shows on, I just out. Now, after all these decades in the business, what still gives you a buzz? A good script, live performance, laugh on set, or all of the above?
No, I think all the above. Good script,
yeah.
Performance-wise,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes you read a script and think that's good, and sometimes it comes out crap. But other times you read it and think, oh, yeah, that's nice. That's enjoyable. Let's do it. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a few movies I've been in, and I thought, oh, shit, that's crap. but normally, no.
A few I've been in too. But finally, Tom, when people look back on your contribution to Australian television and theatre, what do you hope they remember most?
Someone that enjoyed himself.
Good.
And they enjoyed a show called Matlock Police.
Yeah.
That's too long ago for some people. But that was a little boy's dream come true, and how that all came about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Wonderful. But it was more like playing cowboys and Indians, really, from our childhood days.
Yeah.
I love that,
Of course, Colin Eggleston, he was a bit of more of a cowboy. He used to wear, all the cowboy type stuff too, like me. And he enjoyed the thing about being Western, Matlock Police. But no, as long as they enjoyed the show, and that's the main thing.
Good on you. What a life you've had, and still going strong.
Yeah, well, in areas.
Yeah, you just slow down a little bit, that's all. Yeah. And you do what you want to do.
That's right, yeah.
What you don't need to do, but you want to do. Yeah.
Very wise.
Well, thank you so much for this really, and I'll get into the earthing. I'll look that up.
Oh, get into that.
Particularly after my bad night's sleep last night. So the thing is, thank you very, very much, and I do hope that one day we meet in person.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Lulu. I appreciate the time and the effort, and it's been very enjoyable. So thank you for your time, and Ray sitting there editing and doing what he has to do. So thank you very much.
Oh,
pleasure.
Yes.
Goodbye, good luck, and God bless.
And God bless you too.
Okay.
What an absolute legend. I don't know about you, but I'm still laughing about this Prick of the Week awards and the image of a young Tom speed painting at markets just to get by. To think that Tom and I could have worked together on young Ramsay. Oh, I've been trying to imagine what that would have been like. From the family atmosphere of Crawford's days to his international adventures filming in the Amazon and the Nile, Tom's journey is a masterclass in staying positive, chilled, and embracing synchronicity. And you'd better believe I'm looking up earthing the second we're off air. I need that perfect night's sleep. Thank you so much for joining us for this trip down memory lane. If you want to hear more behind-the-scenes secrets from the golden age of Australian television, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm Lulu, and until next time, sleep well and have beautiful dreams. A bientôt.
Thanks for listening with an open heart. But now it's time for us to part. So tell everybody that you know to tune in next week to Lulu's show. From set to sofa is where it's at. And Lulu, darling, just loves the chat. She talks to stars with grace and style. Lulu sure will make you smile.